Trans Day of Visibility, I have three book recs for you. First up, we have Stag Dance by Tori Peters. This came out a couple of weeks ago. Tori Peters is the author of Detransition Baby, which is one of the best books of all time. I absolutely fell in love with it and its depiction of the trans, like the modern trans experience in New York. I do love a novel about New York and I do love a novel about messy queer people. So, like, it was right up my alley, but it is also incredibly written. So, I recommend that as well. Stag Dance is a novella and a collection of short stories in one. So, the novella is like a little bit longer, whereas the short stories are all short story length, but it is so powerful. It is evocative and intense and transformative. It's about existing in the liminal space between cis and trans, and Tori Peters has talked about how she didn't want to write another novel like Detransition Baby. She specifically wanted to write a novel about characters who are figuring out where they land on this trans spectrum. And so each of these characters is brilliantly realized, but they also play with gender in really interesting ways. They're sort of dark, sort of twisted, but like really, really fascinating. You're in their heads and just like really understanding how some of them don't understand that they are trans, some of them are, actively pursuing transition. And so it's really fascinating seeing the different facets of the trans experience and like their lives as they sort of figure this out or not. My favorite story in this is a relationship between two characters at a boys' boarding school. One of them is sort of on again, that spectrum between cis and trans. One of them is queer in some unidentified way, but it is so fascinating and it's a really, really interesting look at gender and power and the way that people sort of manipulate their gender in exercising their power over other people. And it's a brilliant examination of social dynamics. I absolutely loved it. Bad Habit by Alana S. Portero is one of the books that I rated as one of my favorite books of last year. It does not get enough love on here. It is about a trans girl's experience in Madrid as she looks to different icons of womanhood. She studies Madonna, she studies other pop stars, she studies her mother and the women in her family and in her neighborhood in Madrid, in this like kind of bad part of Madrid. And she really, really takes in all of these different influences and sort of creates herself, right? If you follow me, you know that I love stories about characters who create themselves and the way that people sort of are figuring out their identities and construct them from nothing, right? The performance of the self. And I think that the way Portero creates this character who is so interested in the performance of gender, it's very like sociological, it's very Judith Butler, but it's really, really spot on. And the ending of this absolutely blew me away. The writing is gorgeous and just really, really sensuous and really, really reflective on the experience of being a daughter and being sort of in this sacrificial role in the family and the way you can be cast in different roles even when you don't want to perform them. I love this book. In Universes was also one of my favorite books of last year. It's by Emmett North. This is about a non-binary character who is sort of experiencing different realities, and you don't know which one is the real reality because every chapter is so different, and it's a masterpiece. Like, it is so impressive how North creates these different fully realized worlds. One of them is a dystopia. One of them is a sort of speculative fiction moment. My favorite story in this is a world where women transform into like hordes of animals, right? And the first sentence is like, my mother is a swarm of bees. And I have not stopped thinking about it for, like 9 months. It is so, so, so well done. North creates these beautiful worlds, writes beautifully. I highly recommend this one. If you're a fan of beautiful writing, it's not very long, but it is so powerful. Every single story is a gut punch, and you just really fall in love with each of these characters and watch as their experience of existing, of existing in a queer body just shifts so radically from story to story. And the pursuit of love and community is the tether that holds these stories together and just absolutely blew me away. Like, the ending of this is also absolutely gorgeous. Those are my recs. Happy Trans Day of Visibility.